Bait, I think, still holds quite a lot of fish.
Yeah.
And this month, you know, toward the end of the month, early July, you see all the bait fish come in real thick. You'll have the alewives will come in real big schools, and that's where, you know, most of these charter boats stop to get all the bait for the day's fishing. When you have all those fish inside, you have king mackerel following them in. The Spanish are in, so it's a pretty lively place. This is Matt Moldwin. We're running off today to do a little bit of bottom fishing. As you can see, we have pretty good sea conditions out here, typical for this time of the year. Matt will fill you in on exactly the type of fishing we're going to do and more or less how far we're going to run. Matt's an experienced captain. He's been doing this for a number of years. He's been very successful, and we're happy to have him on board the Escape.
Today we'll be running about 10 miles offshore before we start fishing. And we'll be looking for triggerfish and red snapper to start off with. We caught a lot of live bait, redfin herring up in the bay before we came out in the Gulf. After we catch a good little charge of red snapper and triggerfish, and we'll try for some amberjack. Hopefully we'll break some arms out there doing that. And then we'll probably hit a few more snapper holes, see if we can't catch a limit, which is 4 per person on those, on the red snapper, and 1 per person on the amberjack. And that should wrap up the day for us.
On a trip like this is the people they're taking out. You know, the level of skill, the level of intensity, whether they really want to get the biggest fish, not miss anything. You know, do they need instruction, or this is the first or second time they've been out there? Right. That's what we try to match the instruction to the individual. A lot of people have been fishing all their lives, and they don't want a mate telling them you're reeling too fast or reeling too slow or pull up or, you know, set the hook now. And then there are others that absolutely need all of that instruction, otherwise they're coming back to the dock with no fish and frustrated. So before we go out, we talk to the people and try to find out more or less, you know, how much they know and how much they want to be helped. Yeah. And it's usually a mixture, unless it's a charter, and that charter, most of the time, people know how to fish.
Fish with your group, and if you fish with your group, we'll have like 1 or 2 single hook rigs per group, and like the rest 2 hook rigs per group. You guys that are by yourselves, I'd recommend just switching out as to what's biting. The name of the game is catch what's down there. You got several different pieces of bait to use on the single hook rig. Whenever we come up on a spot and we don't know what's there, just put a strip, a mackerel strip on there just like that. Okay? Snapper are biting. You want to try to catch a nicer snapper. I suggest fishing up higher in the water with either a cigar minnow, which you can hook through the eyes, or you can hook like this right here, or to fish with a whole squid just like this. All right? If you have a 2 hook rig and you're fishing while the snapper are biting, you just have a piece of squid on one hook and put a mackerel strip on the other. On these 2 hook rigs, here, let me grab one of these. You got smaller hooks on them. So if you put a whole minnow on there, you're probably just gonna lose your bait. Just take one of the smaller strips, put it on your bottom hook, and then there's some cut squid in there. You put that on your top hook. You want to be getting baited up and getting ready whenever Matt slows down. Fish with your group. Don't get all spread out, and we want to fish around the back of the boat. From about the back of the cabin all the way around, we'll have plenty of room. Okay? Whenever we start fishing, it's just like it was earlier when we were catching bait. Matt's going to honk the horn whenever it's time to start fishing. Whenever it's time to reel up, he'll honk the horn again. Okay? So whenever he honks the horn, you want to take your rig and you want to lower it over the side of the boat. Put your thumb on the spool. Take this lever on the side of the spool, flip it forward. Gently release pressure with your thumb. Let it go all the way down to the bottom. Sometimes I'll tell you to stop up higher in the water. Whenever I say, all right, there's some nicer snapper up high in the water, just count down about 4 or 5 seconds. Get it down there about 20 to 30 feet or halfway down. It's average from 60 to 100 feet of water is what we'll be fishing in the day. Okay, whenever we get down to the bottom, you take that same lever and you flip it backwards. That puts your reel in gear, engages your drag. Reel until your line is tight, and then come up an additional 5 cranks off the bottom. That'll get you out of the smaller fish. The smaller red snapper like to hang out on the bottom. Once we get in a position to fish, there's several different ways you can hold your rod. The way I suggest is getting your left hand out in front of your reel, thumb on your line, hand on your handle, rod tip pointed to the water like so. Some of these fish are very light biters, like the triggerfish especially. It's the slightest tap, the slightest quiver of your rod tip. Don't even hesitate. That's when you want to jerk. You want to jerk really hard. This monofilament line over a distance, it stretches like a rubber band. So, slightest tap, slightest quiver. Okay, I just got one. You want to jerk real hard. Try and jerk the fish's lips off. If you reel up fish lips, you jerk too hard. And let's catch the fish and have a good time.
We get a lot of families that you know, would bring children and they need some help. We have women that are just keeping their husbands company and pick up a fishing rod, so they need help. And on the other hand, we have some women that are incredible anglers that outfish most of the men on the boat, and sometimes all of the men on the boat, because they're more patient. You know, they don't get frustrated. They feel the bites better. And I was pleasantly surprised to see one of my partner's boats. As a matter of fact, the entertainer took out a crew of all women. I think there were 10 or 12 of them about a week ago. They had one of the best catches of fish I've seen come to the dock. I mean, groupers, amberjacks, huge red snapper. Those women really, really knew how to fish. And they were so low-key. They were having a great time, enjoyed every minute of it. You know, it was really wonderful to see.